Hello, welcome to your Android class. So far you have learned how to create a simple Android application consisting of a single activity. You also learned to create a basic UI using an XML file and also using the Android Studio Designer. In that we also learned how to add icons to the buttons and other widgets, and we also learned how to do logging, to do debugging, as well as to see how our activity lifecycle is being play out in the background when we are interacting with our application. One problem that we faced last time was that when we rotated our screen, our application started from the beginning. That is, it displayed us the first question. This was a bug, and this bug occurred because we were not handling what happens to an application when we rotate it. After putting some log messages, we came to know that when we rotate an application, the activity that is currently active is destroyed and new activity is created. Today we will learn how to manage the behavior of our application, how to keep the application behavior consistent when a user rotates the screen. Let us start. So just to recap, when a device is rotated, the instance of the running activity is destroyed and a new one is created. And in this case you have to take care of member variable, etc., that you initialized. In our application we had a current index variable of the array that we were initializing, and whenever we were rotating it used to get initialized to 0. Now we will see how to save it so that its value is preserved during the rotation. For the basics, when you rotate a device, the device configuration is changed. So let us see what is in a device configuration. A device configuration consists of screen orientation, screen density, screen size, keyboard type, and many other things. Many of these things are not affected at all when you rotate your screen. For example, screen density remains the same. However, many other things get affected when you rotate your mobile phone, such as screen orientation. Now, because your device configuration is changed, Android system destroys the instance of the activity that was running particular to that device configuration, and it creates a new instance of the activity according to the new device configuration. Let us first try to understand it by writing some code and seeing our application behavior. So let's go back to our application and start coding. As you see, our application is here. When I run, the application displays a question. I can go to next. Now I come to 43. I rotate, and again I get the first question, which was, is 19 a prime number? So this was happening, and today we will see that once I move ahead, I do not come back to the first question. Now let us see. Let us also see the log messages. You will see create, start, resume, and you will see this destroy which occurred because we rotated our screen. Again we rotated, and that's why again a destroy occurred, and then a new instance was created. This, as you see, we can track because we had overridden these methods with appropriate log messages. Fine. Now let us first talk about device configuration. So far we have only one configuration, and that configuration is defined in this file called layout. I would now like to add another layout to my application. I can do that by going into res directory, right click, new, and from new I can see the various options are available to me, and I can come to this thing called Android resource directory. Android resource directory shows me a dialog box. It says what is the directory name. I'm going to call the directory name layout, and I am going to among the left hand options, I'm going to choose orientation. In the resource type, I choose layout, choose orientation, and I select it. I will choose the screen orientation to be landscape, and as you will see that the directory name changes from layout to layout-land. Android does it to find out the correct layout as per the orientation of the device. Now, we have got a layout-land directory, but currently there is nothing in this directory. So what I am going to do is I am going to copy my activity quiz.xml into my layout-land. I will keep the same name because I want to use the same resource ID. I copied it. Now, if I again run the application, there will be no change because for the both layouts, I am using the same file. So let us make some changes in our new file so that we can see what happens when we rotate our screen. The first I am going to change is to change the linear layout to something called a frame layout. Let me type frame layout, cut linear layout altogether. I will leave it to match parent. I don't really need these two fields. Keep saving my activity underscore quiz under the layout-land directory. Then the next thing that we are going to do is to make some changes to the gravity parameter of the text view that we were seeing. So let us add Android layout gravity and I will call it center horizontal. Okay, that is done. After that I will move and I will change the location of my buttons a little bit. So I had two buttons and I am going to change their location of, let us say, one button. For the next I should say Android layout gravity bottom right. I save. Let me run my application. So application is started. When it starts, we are in the portrait mode. We see the familiar layout. Let us rotate. Oh, and now you can see definitely some changes. For example, my next button has gone into the bottom right corner. And because I did not change the location of these two buttons, they are still at the same place. Let me come back and one more time. I get the familiar layout. Now let me go to these two buttons and we want them to look alright. So I will do Android layout gravity and I may want to set them up somewhere in the center uh, I may want to set my linear layout in which my button was to, let us say, center horizontal. I save, I run my application. This is my application. Give it a rotation. Oh, they have gone to the top. Let me try another configuration. I give it center of the vertical. Stop and I start again. I will have to do slightly more planning than I was planning to do earlier. Let us make change one more time. Except that I have now come to the center vertical and now I also want it to be center horizontal. Yes. Let us run our application. Wow. Now our application looks good. It's asking a question, it's showing the question, it's showing the options, and then it is showing us the next button. Let me press the next. We am going forward. There were 4 questions. I'm on second question. I rotate it back. Oops. I am again back to the original question because we have so far not solved the problem. Now we are going to solve it. And the way to solve it is to override onSave instance state method. Let's go back again to our code. Let's go to quiz activity. First try to understand what we were doing. So we had a variable called current index which was set to 0, and when we were pressing next button we were increasing current index by 1, and when we were updating question we were displaying the question which is set to the current index. Now because this current index always gets resets to 0, we come back to our first question. So what we need to do is that when we rotate, we need to save the current index value. So let us see how to do that. Okay. We go, go. And anyway we can start. But let me start just right here. I will again start with override because it will warn me if I am using a wrong method name. Public void on save instance state bundle saved instance state. That's it. Oh, so I was actually, so this is my parent on save instance. I'm now overwriting it. So what do I need to do to save our value of current index? Number one, the bundle saves the values as key value pairs. So we will have to create a key value pair for our program. First and foremost, let us just first call the super function so that we don't end up into error. Then we should also put a log message. I am putting I with info. My tag remains the same, and I say inside on save instance. Now comes the main part of saving our current index value. So we can save the current index value by calling the bundle. Because our current index value is integer, I would like to put an int. And as you see, the putInt method requires me to give a key and a value. Let us save the key. For the key, I will go up here and I will create private static final string. Let me call it key index and give it the value index. Come down to my function. I put key index, and for the value I'll put current index. This would save the value of the current index whenever we want to change our screen by rotating it. Now let us make appropriate changes in our program so that we can work with it. The number one thing that we have to do is to check if our saved instance is not null. Because we are using our saved instance here, we must make a check on this. Come down just before updating the question. I will say if saved instance state is not equal to null, then set my current index equal to saved instance state dot get int corresponding to key index, and the default value is 0, and that's it. So we saved the value and we retrieved the value. Now let us run our application and see if it works. We will also be watching the log messages. Let me go to the third question, and now I will rotate. Wow. This time we did not get the error. And we can see that on save instance was called. This is it so far. Now you can very safely develop Android applications which use only a single activity. In next lecture, we will improve our app and will start adding more activities to it. In the next lecture, I will tell you how to create apps which uses more than one activity. Thank you.